Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The time is, it's about almost 7 o'clock, a little past 7 o'clock. We're going to start with, before we begin our council meeting, we have two public hearings on the docket. These two ordinances were read into the record for first reading at the last council meeting here. And tonight they're undergoing a public hearing. It's going to be for ordinance 1125, ordinance 1126. We'll begin with a public hearing on ordinance 1125 concerning repealing and replacing chapter 31-2, amendments to the International Property Maintenance Code. This is an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and sections 33 and 34 of the Havre City Charter to repeal and replace chapters 31-2, amendments to the International Property Maintenance Code. At this time, I will open up comments to any citizen this evening who's in the audience that wishes to speak to this ordinance. Okay. Are there any comments among the council members? Fair enough. Okay, without any comments from the public or comments from the council, it is now 7:03. I now declare public comment on ordinance 1125 to be closed. Next up is public hearing on ordinance 1126 concerning accepting a deed for 105 Wilson Street. This will be an ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and sections 33, 34, and 73 of the Havre de Grace City Charter for the purpose of accepting a deed for 105 Wilson Street for a public purpose. I will open up the floor to members of the audience here this evening who wish to speak on this ordinance. Are there comments among the council? Okay, without any public comment or comments from the council. The time is 7:04. I now close public hearing on ordinance 1126. Good evening. We now start our regularly scheduled council meeting. The date is October 16, 2023. The time is 7:04 p.m. I call to order a meeting of the Havre de Grace Mayor and City Council. I'll call the roll. Council President.
Here.
Councilmember Robertson is absent. Councilmember Jones.
Here.
Councilmember Boyer.
Here.
Councilmember Schnegas.
Here.
And Councilmember Boger. Everyone, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and the opening prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If I could kindly ask everyone just to remain standing a few more moments, as it gives me a great honor to welcome again Reverend Lynn Humphreys-Russ of Hopewell United Methodist Church. Thank you for being here this evening.
And thank you for bringing God's word here.
Thank you.
If you would all bow your heads, please. Almighty God, we praise you, we thank you, and we ask your blessing upon tonight's gathering. We hear of violence on our nation's streets, division in our government, cruel war on many fronts throughout the world. We face upheaval and challenge from all directions today and look for your light to shine through the darkness. I beseech you, gracious God, to place your hand upon the work that the men and women will do in this meeting. Guide their hearts and minds to make decisions that will provide stability, calm, and balance in our town. In this place that has shone a light throughout the history of our country, give them courage as they work through the issues brought forward tonight to be the light that you have made them to be. Bless all who are here and all the work they do. May your light shine upon them as they work for the prosperity of our city. Your people throughout Havre de Grace pray to you by many names. Tonight I pray to you in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Reverend, thank you so much. Always a pleasure. Thank you for your words. Please be seated.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I do have a last-minute change to the agenda. Due to a different route that the city plans to take to make things more amicably priced for the citizens, we're going to be pulling the license agreements, which would be 12D and E and 13B and C. We're going to pull those tonight. Trying to work out something that's, you know, a little bit less expensive for citizens. So I do apologize if anybody came here for those tonight. We're going to pull those, keep going through projects, it's not a problem. It's just, we're going to try to figure out something that is more consistent and, you know, more equitably priced for the citizens. So,
What numbers were they, D and what?
so there would be 12 D and E and 13 B and C.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Gambatory?
Yes, sir.
A friendly amendment
Yes, sir. I'm sorry?
was that covered the friendly amendment also?
Yeah, that, there's no
Okay.
longer a need for that.
Gotcha.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, fair enough. We're going to go to item number 5, which is the approval of minutes from the October 2nd council meeting. Do I have a motion to approve October 2nd, 2023 council meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Councilmember Booker, seconded by Councilmember Shenagus. Questions or comments on the minutes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Council meeting minutes of October 2nd, 2023 are approved 5-0 in the affirmative. Item B, City Council closed session minutes of October 2nd, 2023. Questions or, never mind. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Jones,
Second?
second by Councilmember Shenagus. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The approval of the closed session meeting minutes of October 2nd, 2023 carry 5-0 in the affirmative. We're going to go to item 6, comments from citizens. As a reminder, this is the moment of the meeting. If you're here this evening because you want to speak on something that's on the agenda, now's the time to do so. If you are here because you want to speak on any other matter of city business, now's the time to do so. So normally what I do is I'll call on any citizen that goes online or fills out a form ahead of time, but I don't have any, I believe. Oh, okay, I don't have any. I'll open up the floor. Raise your hand, be recognized. Yes, sir. Welcome to the council meeting, and may we please have your name and address for the record.
My name's Herbert Truslow. I live in Havre. I'm not going to give you my address because you half you guys know where I live. The one question I want to bring up is I've been getting a lot of different answers from different people. What is the reason that Havre Grace did not get the hospital? Because I know the real reason, because I spoke to several doctors, and they're blaming it on you, Mayor, and your council for not having it. What's the real reason that Aberdeen got it and we didn't?
How much time do you have?
I have until November.
No, I'll do the real clear, simple one. This has been a item that was front and center in 2017, 18, 19, and 2020. We talked a lot about it at council meetings, but basically, they wanted to go up to the interchange at I-95. They owned the property up there. What they gave the city was more of a retail concept plan than any detailed concept plan of a hospital, and they wanted the citizens to pay for the infrastructure. And we said, come back when you have more of a plan of a hospital, and we don't feel the citizens should spend millions on infrastructure when it's the developer's responsibility to do that. And they went to Aberdeen. But honestly, I think they wanted to go to Aberdeen all along. So
Yeah, that's what they said. So, I'm good friends with the mayor of Aberdeen. I went to school with his, I think it's his brother, and he said, what Aberdeen's gained is Havre Grace's loss. And I feel sorry for the citizens of Havre Grace. I feel sorry for the senior citizens that get an ambulance down there, and they got to spend arm and leg to get a taxi cab here. I'm saying, if I was the mayor of Havre Grace, we would have had the hospital. I guarantee that for a fact.
okay. Thank you. Who else in the audience wishes to speak this evening? Yes, ma'am.
2044?
evening. My name is Jean Johnson, and I'm on the Historic Preservation Commission. And I just want to say, on a very positive note, that we are thrilled that Councilwoman Jones will be introducing a vote tonight to designate the Havre de Grace Colored School Museum our very first local landmark. This is really lovely. And it's been a long time of work over many years by many people, including Pat Cole and her board at the Colored School Museum, and our terrific planning department, who, under Tim Boucher's leadership, and also Diane Clare and Tamara Brinkman. They all did an amazing job in many ways of getting the forms ready to go. This is our very first, but as Tim said to me, it's not going to be our last. And so I really want to commend all of those city staff under the leadership of Mayor Martin, and it's just a really good thing. So this will be our very first local landmark under the rules of the Maryland Historic Trust. So thank you, and the previous chair of the Historic Preservation Committee is here, or Commission is here tonight as well, Ron Browning, so we really give our heartfelt thanks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Who else wishes to speak? Any comments from the council? Okay, without any further comments, we will move on our agenda. We're going to go to item 7, appointments. We have a couple reappointments this evening and a new appointment. So we'll start with economic development appointments, and the chair of the Economic Development Commission is Councilmember Robertson, who is not able to be with us this evening. So, Council President, would you mind proffering those names?
Sure. Doing both at the same time or just one at a time?
Sure, you can do both at the same
I was
time.
going to say reappointments. Mr. Mayor, Council, citizens all, I make a motion to reappoint both Clerk Turner and Richard Wayner to the Economic Development Advisory Board.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by the Council President, seconded by Councilmember Schnegus. This is for the reappointment of Mr. Clark Turner and Mr. Richard Wayner to the Economic Development Advisory Board. Questions or comments on either reappointment? Council President?
Both these gentlemen are assets to the city. They're both extremely well known around City Hall and throughout the town, and definitely warrant being reappointed.
Thank you, Council President. Any other comments? Okay, Council, this is for the reappointment of Mr. Clark Turner and Mr. Richard Wayner. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, the reappointments carry 5-0 in the affirmative. Item B, an appointment to the Ethics Commission. Council President.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I make a motion to appoint Ms. Carolyn Zenner to the Ethics Commission.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by the Council President, seconded by Councilmember Boker. This is for the appointment of Ms. Carolyn Zenner to the Ethics Commission. Questions or comments? Yes.
We currently have a spot open on the Ethics Commission, and Carolyn will be filling that. Pastor Norman will be leaving us as well, so we're going to have another one coming up. But Carolyn has been a longtime friend here from sitting up on the dais, and is definitely involved around the city, and she will be an asset to the Ethics Commission. And I'll see you tomorrow at 5.
Thank you, Council President. Any further questions or comments? Council, this is for the appointment of Ms. Carolyn Zenner to the Ethics Commission. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against say nay. Motion to appoint Mrs. Zenner to the Ethics Commission carries 5-0 in the affirmative. Okay, item 8 is oath of office, and we do have a new appointment. And if I could kindly ask Ms. Zenner to join me for the oath of office, I'd appreciate it. Council President? Yep.
Go ahead.
This is mine. Back again.
Ready for this? Okay. Former council member Carolyn Zinner, you ready to serve the city
Yes.
on the highest commission we got, the Ethics Commission?
Sure.
Okay. Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I'm gonna say the word "I." When I say the word "I," please say "I" and repeat your name, or state your name. I
I, Carolyn Zinner,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will fulfill
that I will fulfill
the requirement
the requirement
of the office I'm about to assume,
of the office I'm about to assume,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland,
to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution
and support the Constitution
and laws thereof,
and laws thereof,
and I will faithfully and impartially,
and I will faithfully and impartially,
without fear of favor or prejudice,
without fear of favor or prejudice,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
as a member of
as a member of
the Ethics Commission
the Ethics Commission
for the city of Havre de Grace,
for the city of Havre de Grace
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done. Can I step over here for a second real quick? Carolyn, thank you very much. Okay, item number 9 this evening is recognitions. This evening we have no recognitions. Item 10 is proclamations, and this evening we have nothing to proclaim, which takes us to item 11, presentations, and we would like to present 2 things this evening. And the first thing is going to be a presentation on the Otsego Street intersection update. And former Director of DPW and current City Engineer, Mr. Tim Whitty, is going to update us. Good evening, Tim. Good to see you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Glad to be here. Tonight's presentation will be on the discussion of the intersection improvements proposed by the State Highway Administration and the Toll Authority for the Route 40, Otsego, and Ohio Street intersections. Presentation will cover a review of the study and the alternatives proposed and a response from the Department of Public Works at the time. Also, I'll update you on our September 14th meeting with the State Highway Administration and the Toll Authority. And then at the end of this, I could answer any questions and sort of get a recommendation for the path forward. The study in question was done approximately 3 years ago. And at that time, the proposal, the study proposed 4 alternatives for intersection improvements. Alternative 1 here simply was a very simple design and proposal to basically improve the left turn movements at the intersection, which called for the cutting back the noses of the east and west medians by 10 feet on the Pulaski Highway, Route 40. And again, those just simply, they didn't address any capacity issues or Queuing, it simply improved the left turn movements at the intersection. Alternative 2 was proposed, was actually making Ohio Street one-way from Ontario to Route 40. What it did was it proposed the elimination of the eastbound lane on Ohio Street and instead turning that into a left turn lane. So you had 2 left turn lanes and then a through lane that would proceed west on Route 40 and a turn lane into Otsego right turn lane. It also called for the removing of the channelization that existed at the intersection by the rural farm store and the installation of a new traffic signal at the Ontario Route 40 intersection. The advantages to this was there was, based on this, it improved both the capacity and the queuing at the Route 40 intersection. So there was definitely improvement in that. There was a possibility of safety improvements both at the intersection of Route 40 and at Ontario Street. The disadvantages to it, the study and this option, was that the double left is tricky as you're coming off of Ohio Street and turning onto Route 40 East towards Hatem Bridge. It created what I think critical access concerns for the rural farm store. In addition, it required the residents that would be on Ontario Street, obviously it removed the eastbound lane and required them to proceed down to the intersection of Route 40 and Ontario Street, where their new signal is, make a left there and then go through the intersection to proceed up Ontario Street to their home. So there was additional traffic movement that they would incur, and some delay, obviously, because they would have to go through two signals. There's also concerns of truck traffic at that intersection on Ontario Street and Ohio Street. We would have to, right now we have truck limit signs up because of the damage that was incurred by tractor trailer trucks, and there still is a concern from the department's feeling of the right turn movement for those tractor trailers to get right, to get out onto Ohio Street to proceed down to 155. The third alternative for the project was a little different. It called for the elimination of the access of Otsego Street, at the Camilla Street, the access to there, and the extension of Camilla Street to Route 155. There's advantages. Only advantage that would be to this proposal would be actually by eliminating the an access point to the intersection, probably be some improvements to safety. There's a minimal, very minimal improvement to capacity and queuing simply because of the reduction in the signalization and the lights and the signalization phase.
Okay, fair.
Disadvantages obviously are right-of-way acquisition that's going to have to occur. I do have questions about the constructability of that extension of Camilla Street at the intersection of Ontario Street, based on, if you look, there's solid rock there and kind of the wall, it's a completely solid rock. That intersection, site distance is going to be difficult to achieve, and it's going to require removal of that whole slope of rock along both sides for several hundred feet to improve the site distance. So I have some constructability issues with that. But there really isn't that much improvements associated with the actual improvement of the intersection as far as queuing and capacity. And finally, alternative number 4 is very similar to alternative number 2, with the exception that it maintains the eastbound lane on Ohio Street. Like alternative number 2, the capacity and queuing of the intersection greatly improves. It eliminates the need for the signal at Ontario and Route 40. There are some safety advantages to it with the intersection as well with the signalization. But the disadvantage is really, it's again with the left turn on the tricky left turn maneuver that would be heading east on Route 40 towards the Hayden Bridge. And this option requires significant right-of-way acquisition associated with the Pizza Hut and the Royal Farm Store. My response to the study when it first came out was that there was a lot of improvements that prior to doing the improvements, my response really was I wrote the letter and said, out of the 4 alternatives, 2 really don't make any difference at all. So you're looking at 2 alternatives that really don't make any difference at all. The other 2 are significant improvements right away. And that rather than go in that direction, why don't we look at the traffic and the impact of the toll on the Hayden Bridge. And so that is what I put in the letter. And they said, look at the toll. What impact does this toll have on the bridge? And I never got a response back. No one from the state contacted me. The only call I got was from one of the consultant from Wallace Montgomery offered to do the study for me, and I obviously said no. So nothing happened until I got a call somewhere or an email from, I guess, August 24th that they wanted to have a Zoom meeting with me and scheduled it for September 18th. And so we had that meeting, and the basics was the state came to me and said, "Why haven't you made a decision on the improvements? Why are we still waiting? Why is the city delaying this?" And again, I reiterated my concern on the toll at the Hayden Bridge and its impact on traffic at this intersection, and requested that the state look at that study before committing themselves to spending millions of dollars in an intersection. It just made sense to me to look at that toll and the impact it had on it. It just seems to me that rather than spending $1 million to correct the problem, if they could, what my suggestion is that this toll be incremented. In other words, for the folks that live in Havre, Grace, Port Deposit, Perryville, and the surrounding areas, the discount toll would remain as it is. But as you went farther out to Elkton, Delaware, that type of thing, that areas, that you would pay more or equal to the toll at the Tidings Bridge. It made sense. It's a system that's used by other states. The city of New York uses it. And it makes sense than trying to force an improvement at this intersection. And then for whatever reason, out of the blue, a gentleman from the Maryland Toll Authority says, "Well, we already did that study." And Ben, who was on the phone call, said, "Could we see it?" And we were met with silence, which I took as a no. And I still feel strongly about that. I feel that that it needs to be looked at. That it needs to be a consideration before we go into the development of this intersection with these improvements. The one thing I just didn't touch on is option 2 is there is additional traffic movements there that it's an inconvenience. It's kind of redirecting traffic. It's redirecting truck traffic. In my mind, it creates a worse condition. Most of these improvements really don't. the option 2 really is going to create additional traffic movements when the simple solution is to really look at the tolls and to see if there's some sort of creative way that we can alleviate these problems without having to, impact businesses. I mean, every one of these options impacts businesses, impacts residents to getting home. There's tremendous impacts all the way around. And prior to this, look at a more simple solution. I mean, that's just kind of how I'm approaching it. And I guess, that's what I'm coming to council about is, a decision for you all is this the approach that we want to take? Do we want to, ask for the data and actually see it? One of the things I've noticed when you go across the bridge in Hayden Bridge, that to me, I think there's a significant impact, and the reason I do say that from this discount toll is when you first come across the Hayden Bridge, what is the most difficult movement that you have to make? It's actually going straight on Route 40. The system is that as you approach and you go through the tolls, the first thing you come through are the 2 lanes to turn left on 222 to get back on Route 40. But the difficult movement is actually wanting to go straight on Route 40. That's where you have to make the adjustment. In any other intersection you come to, right, you make a left turn, that's the one you adjust to, right? You go to the left to make. Here, it's straight on. You come right out of the tolls to the left turn movements, which tells me that's the majority of the, and it's 2 lanes. And so that's telling me that's the majority of the trips that are coming through there is through the left turn lanes. They have the data, but for whatever reason, they choose not to share it. And I just think and I'm just asking the council really is to, is there, support? Would it be, would you like to see a letter? How do you want to proceed forward? Is it a letter from council, letter, requesting this information, or do you want it from the Department of Public Works? How do you want to handle that?
Mr. Whitty, I got to tell you that I've been on the council for coming up on 6 years now, and this has been a constant issue. And I keep on asking, why can't we just allow the Hayden Bridge pass to work on 95? And I keep on getting told the same thing. It's different funds, it's different enterprise fund. And come on, I know how legislation works. We can figure that out. I mean, we could, pass legislation to fix that or revamp the enterprise fund. I don't know, but it seems like the state is recalcitrant in changing that, despite the fact, like you said, you come across from Perryville where they just improved that entire intersection, which is not that improved. But all the asphalt they put down that they have to keep replacing because the trucks coming across there, and all the increased traffic on through Perryville, I can't see how that's an added benefit over just allowing people to cross over 95, because if they did that one simple trick, allowing the Hayden Bridge pass for commuters, and say you got to live in Havre or Perryville or Rising Sun or somewhere locally, they're using that bridge. If they were to do that, that would alleviate 99% of our issues here, including traffic in Perryville, let alone Havre de Grace. And I have tried and tried, but we can keep asking. I think that if we do a letter from council, from the mayor's office, which I'm in full support of, taking that route first instead of changing around that intersection by the Royal Farms, that's how I'd prefer to go. I know, Steve, you've worked on this before. You've looked into this, and they always tell you the same thing because they want to brush you off because they'd rather push it off on somebody else, be like it's not their job. But it is their job to help fix this, and just by accepting the Hayden Bridge pass at the 95 toll, that would fix a world of problems.
It would. It just seems it just seems contrary to spend millions of dollars towards a project when you haven't looked at all the options. And at the end of the day, what I keep bringing up to the folks is it's actually more. If you want to talk about it, it's more money, right? Because if you're adjusting the toll or whatever it is you're doing, whatever option you want to take, whether it's you're not losing funds. It's not there's no adjusting the toll and or allowing the discount toll to be used on the Tidings Bridge. There's no money lost, right? It's the same money that's coming through.
Well, Tim,
the idea that
well, Tim, I agree with you. I mean, just because somebody else gives you options don't mean that they're the only options.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here remembering it was a while back. Current State Senator Mary Laney James was a delegate at the time, so it had to be 10 years ago, I think. And I remember, I was on council at the time, but I remember everyone in the area got like a postcard mailer about taking a poll, an opinion poll, on pushing the I-95 toll booth plaza closer to Delaware. Now, that meant the whole toll booth plaza.
Right.
And I tried to follow up on it. I was interested to see what the poll results were. Either not enough responses to meet some kind of threshold, or maybe nobody wanted it. I can't believe nobody wanted it moved. But anyway, it kind of died. But I'm thinking the whole technology's changed. And this is why I really believe we need to forget any idea of, mutating our intersection. Because everything's done electronically now by EasyPass. There's no more toll booths. It doesn't matter if you put that little thing over the highway with the EasyPass reader halfway between Perryville and Northeast. It doesn't matter if you put it halfway between Perryville and Northeast on Route 40. It doesn't matter if you do it $3 one way and $3 the other way. I mean, it's just readers now on your EasyPass. There's no more toll booths, so there's no more slowing down. And this notion where bridges have to have tolls, Baltimore Harbor Tunnel, the Tappan Zee Bridge, the George Washington Bridge, the Delaware, it's always created barriers for people. So with technology, I think what we ought to solicit, and perhaps the council could, draft a resolution, support, give to our delegates to take down Annapolis, is with technology, we don't have to put these at bridges anymore. They can be anywhere we want them to be, and to stop that barrier. Now, they can work out the details of, the local people travel free, but we all know why people get off I-95. But if we push them back further, it would be a moot point. Everybody could just go over the I-95 bridge and then find another way to get off, not to pay the toll.
Yeah.
But, there's options now, especially since we don't have to have brick and mortar toll booths anymore. You can read these tags anywhere you want. It doesn't have to be a bridge anymore. Yeah. And so I think that's the position we take is, since everything is electronic, just start looking at different places to put them. I mean, so what if it's, like I say, right now, was it $6 or something like that northbound?
$6
$3 northbound, $3 southbound. You do whatever you want. There's all kind of variations. You don't have to slow down anymore. I mean, when you go into Delaware, they decide to put a toll booth right there for no reason. Welcome to Delaware. So like I say, I agree with you 100%. I don't like the options. It mutates our intersection. I don't think anyone actually is a silver bullet. Solve the problem. You're right. It's too much money that really isn't going to solve anything if they just focus on reallocating the locations of the tag readers. This is 2023, man. This ain't 1945 no more. We're not paying for that bridge. That bridge has been paid for.
And I'll be honest with you, I've been working in this county for 30-some years, and there's projects out there that I remember, I don't know, we all go to the state highway, once a year we go over to Bel Air, and we sit in the council chambers there, and we listen to State Highway, and every year they bring out the same projects every year that they talk about. And it's like, I can name them for you. It's the Route 136, 155 intersection. They've been talking around that for 20 years. And I kind of feel like that's where this is going to be. We're agreed to do it, and then for the next 20 years, this will be brought up as, for this intersection, as soon as we get the road right away, we're going to get this going. And I just kind of...
Well, you know how government works, Tim. As long as you're working on a project, that's job security, right?
Yeah.
You don't ever want to finish a job.
It's like we'll be, the next people, we've been here for 20 years. We still haven't got this intersection.
I know.
But I just think, that's the path forward that we need to look at to really address. And it impacts, you go every day, you see the same people who are trying to avoid a Ohio Street intersection. And they're coming down, they're going through Juniata Street, they're turning up Erie Street. Remember, we had to reverse, we had to change the direction of the road there to kind of, obviously to keep that traffic from going up there. But every day I come down there, there's just a mob of people still coming around, coming to Juniata. Now they're going, using other streets to get through. And, it's impacting not just this intersection, but also other intersections in the city for folks to get around.
Councilmember Boyer.
I want to just jump on what you're saying there. This is a constant discussion in street and traffic safety. And the overall comments from the committee is that we need a holistic solution, one that looks from Revolution all the way past the bridge, because you fix one little thing, it screws something else up along the path. And I do know that our delegates and senators are very engaged in this specific issue. Is probably why you had that meeting with
Yeah, I was
State
wondering how it
Highway.
came about, but it just came out of the blue. I mean, they just kind of called up out of, like 3 years later, I suddenly get a call on,
I'm pretty sure it's because there's been a lot of investigation from our delegates and state senator on that issue. The other thing that I just want to point out is while, yes, tolling and fixing the tolling is a part of the solution, we also have physical problems with that intersection. If you look at that telephone pole by the Waffle House, it is getting shaved at a constant rate to the point that at some point it's going to snap. So while, yes, I agree that we need to address the tolling issue, we have a physical structural issue with that intersection in that we have vehicles that are hitting telephone poles as they turn currently.
And I agree, I agree that the intersection itself, in itself, is I've actually never seen an intersection like that. That is an incredibly interesting intersection, a number of phasing and signalization, the traffic movements at that, it's a very, well, it's obviously not a well-planned, and there can be improvements. I guess what I'm suggesting is that the improvements to that intersection, I'm not denying that, but they should be in conjunction with some change in how we're looking at the toll situation. So it's not, I'm not saying that that intersection doesn't need improvements. It does. It is kind of a hot mess in its alignments and geometry, but there should be a holistic approach to it, not just a physical, changing, the lane direction when the culprit, I believe, is the discount toll and the tolling on the Hayden Bridge. If you were able to adjust that, would there be able to be an adjustment physically to the intersection that may not be as costly or as and more effective than what's just physically being redirecting or making a road one way or those type of things? And that's kind of what I'm looking at.
So a recommendation that came to the mayor's office from Street and Traffic Safety was coming down, I'm going to make sure that I get the names of the roads correctly as I'm doing this. Coming down, I believe it's Ohio to the 5 Points intersection, to changing the existing directions of the vehicles so that in the lane furthest to the right, they turn right, along with the, it can turn right and go into town, and only the one on the left turn left. That was the recommendation that came from Street and Traffic Safety. Did you discuss that at all at that meeting?
Did not discuss it. They just stuck with what was on the traffic study. They did not look at that.
Okay. And that would have to be done by the state. It could not be done by
No, it would
the
have to
city,
be, it would have to be done. They'd have to look at that and examine it by the state for us.
because it's considered a state intersection even at that
It's a
juncture.
totally state intersection.
Okay, thank you.
Well, Tim, appreciate your presentation.
No problem.
Your input and your thoughts behind it, since you are the city engineer. How you would judge it. We'll talk, Council President and I will talk, and we'll talk to the Public Safety Committee and attorney and see what we can do to try to nudge it along a little bit. But I think a lot of people agree that maybe a bigger thing, maybe a bigger approach to take would just be, again, look at the tolls, look at the placement. So like I say, it's we're no longer using toll booths.
Yeah.
You can put those tag readers anywhere you want.
And it's true. I mean, New York, I don't want to belittle this whole thing, I mean, go on with this, but New York does it all the time. I mean, they've got a complete, they're not toll fills. Their folks are all electronic. And depending on where you live in New York and you're commuting in, you pay a different toll.
Yeah.
So it's a proven technology that can work anywhere.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Shifting gears here, we have another presentation this evening from the chair of the Cultural Exchange Commission, who just got back recently from a trip to Wales to visit our our sister, or I'm sorry, our twin city, Mumbles. And so I'd like everybody to welcome Miss Debbie Stathis. Good evening, welcome.
Good evening, good evening. We just got back from our trip, and 12 citizens of Havre de Grace, representing the Cultural Exchange Commission, have recently returned from a visit to Mumbles, a community contained within the city of Swansea, Wales. The Commission would like to share the highlights of our visit with the City Council and the residents of Havre de Grace. From September 17th to September 22nd, folks from Havre de Grace were guests in the homes of members of the Twinning Association of Mumbles. We have some pictures, and they appear in no particular order. Our visit focused, and thank you, Steve. Our visit focused on history, the arts, the beautiful landscape, and hospitality. We explored Oystermouth Castle in the middle of Mumbles and learned of its history and of some of the villains that had controlled the castle. We visited Margam Abbey and learned more about the history of the notorious de Breos family. It involved cannibalism at one point. Tours of the Glenvivian Art Gallery and the Swansea Museum broadened our understanding of the cultural history of the city and the current art scene. A tour of the new Swansea Arena highlighted the arts now being created and performed. A walking tour of Swansea helped to orient us to the changes that have brought the city from its medieval beginnings through its industrial history, its destruction by the Nazis, and its movement into the 21st century. A barge ride up the River Towie with members of TAM further examined the industrial history of the area, once the heart of industry. A visit to Swansea Market allowed us to sample cockles and lava bread, seaweed, local delicacies. We were invited into the home of a noted historian whose house took us back to the days of empire and the effects of the Boxer Rebellion, with an ancestor referred to as the Mandarin and a staircase modeled on the staircase of Sun Yat-sen. The visit included delicious coffee, cakes provided by Twinners, and the gardens were gorgeous. We went out on the Gower Peninsula to visit two churches whose origins were in times long ago, beautiful in their simplicity. And we saw the Worm's Head in the most dramatic light possible. The ponies were wonderful too, and it stopped raining on that day, so that was nice. When I think back on the visit, the central activity was conversation. Conversation while having coffee, having a pint, conversation around breakfast tables and dinner tables, problem solving when we had to, working together to create a memorable visit, getting to know one another. There were some in the group who had visited Mumbles in 2019. We knew TAM members because they had visited Havre de Grace in 2022. We're building a community of friendship, understanding, and trust with folks who live in a different, but not so different, place. The more we get to know these friends 3,000 miles away, the more commonalities we find, so important in today's world. Havre de Grace has been twinned with the community of Mumbles since September 2019, when our charter was signed at Swansea's Guildhall. A complementary charter signing occurred in October of 2022 here at Havre de Grace's City Hall. The charter greets you as you enter the council chambers, and it's gorgeous. We invite anyone listening to become part of Twinning and to join in our relationship with Mumbles, or to explore other types of cultural exchanges. We're always looking for new members. Our calendar alternates between bi-monthly CEC meetings and social events such as the St. David's Day dinner, potluck suppers, holiday get-togethers, and the viewing of soccer and rugby matches, and we're planning field trips. We also participate in the Independence Day Parade, the Tree Jubilee, and First Fridays. If you're buying a ticket to the Oyster Feast, please consider designating the Cultural Exchange Commission. We have collaborated on a booklet with the folks in Mumbles. Every month we have a Zoom call to chat. Next one is tomorrow. Last year we initiated holiday greetings, where we alternate holiday greetings beginning December 1st, and it's available on Facebook. We're doing it again this year. There's lots of stuff to do, and we're open to new ideas. Soon our website will be up and running. Love to have you join. And if anybody here is interested, we have some pamphlets I can give out after the meeting and collect your contact information. And finally, a big thank you to the members of our City Council, especially Mayor Martin and Casey Boyer and Johnny Boker, who went on the trip in 2019, for your support of our efforts. And a particular thank you to Bill Martin, who came for the second time this year, returned to Mumbles, and this time he shared his experience with his son, which is wonderful. Anyone interested can attend the Cultural Exchange Commission meeting tomorrow at City Hall at 7 p.m. So again, thank you to the entire City Council, and particularly to those people who are able to join us in the activities, especially the trips. Thank you very much.
Ms. Stathis, thank you for the presentation. I mean, it was wonderful to have like a quick overview and report
That's what we did.
on how the trip went, and the pictures look great. And again, I just want to reiterate and put on the record that you may not know this, but 3,000 miles away, we have people who are our good friends. And we've been there, they've been here, we've been back, they're going to come back in a year or two, and anybody heading over there, they'll treat you like family. And it's a beautiful place. And the more I've gone there, I've been there twice now, I want to go back again. So it's not one of those places you go to, you're like, well, I did that, I go somewhere else. Like, you go there and you want to go back. You really do want to go back.
Because you meet the people, and
Right.
and they're wonderful,
They're wonderful, just like Havre Grace.
just like Havre Grace.
That's why we twinned with them. So again, we look forward to talking more and more about our wonderful friends across the pond. But I thank you for all the work. I mean, I know it's no small task organizing the people, sending out the information like you did, hosting the the gatherings at your house just to get everybody on the same page. That's a lot of work when you try to organize that, and then you have to work with your counterparts at the Twinning Association of Mumbles to get all this lined up. So again, so thank you, Ms. Stathis, and for all the work you do. I mean, I know it's a lot of work, and you run your commission extremely well, and so I thank you for it.
Well, lots of help and lots of support, but thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, who wants to pass some resolutions and ordinances? Anybody?
Moving right along.
All right, here we go. Okay, item 12, resolutions. Item 12, the Charter Resolution 296, second reading, and Council President.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I move to introduce Charter Resolution Number 296 concerning amending charter sections pertaining to council meeting locations and time for second reading and adoption.
Council, I have a motion by the Council President. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Boger. Council, this is a motion to introduce a charter resolution on second reading. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce Charter Resolution 296 on second reading carries 5-0 in the affirmative. This is a resolution by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of the Maryland Constitution, Article 11E, the Local Government Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and the Havre de Grace City Charter, Section 19, to amend City Charter Sections 28 and 31, generally pertaining to the location and time of meetings of the Mayor and City Council. Council, do I have a motion to adopt Charter Resolution 296?
So moved. Second.
A motion by Councilmember Jones, seconded by Councilmember Schnegas. Questions or comments? Council President?
So we did have comments last meeting from, under the citizen comments from former Councilman Joe Kokendorfer, who's very well informed on a lot of things, but I want to say that the argument that he presented last time was that he didn't want us passing this because it allows us to move the meetings around to here or there or do whatever we wanted to willy-nilly. The intent of this entire ordinance is because, if everybody remembers a few weeks back, what was it, back in June, when we had the severe weather where we had to call off the council meeting, we were technically, I think, in violation of the charter by doing that, right? So, because we didn't have it written in our ordinance for us to move it, and if something happens to the building, or if we have to reschedule for a different time, we want to bring everything up to code, you know, pertaining to the state requirements of the city charter. So that's actually the complete intent of this ordinance. So, or this resolution, I apologize. So While in the future, we may choose to move meetings around town, I don't think there's been any talk about doing that, holding it off-site elsewhere, but that's not the intent of this ordinance. So, sir.
Thanks, Council President. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Council, this is going to be a roll call vote on this charter resolution. Charter Resolution Number 296 concerning amending charter sections pertaining to council meeting locations and time. Councilmember Boker. Yes. Council President Ringsager.
Yes.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shenegis.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 5-0 in the affirmative. Charter Resolution Number 296 concerning amending charter sections pertaining to city council meeting locations and time is adopted and approved by council. Item number 5 in resolutions will be Charter Resolution 297 for second reading. Councilmember Jones.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I move to introduce Charter Resolution 297 to amend the charter sections pertaining to public ways, sidewalks, and waters and sewers.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Jones. I have a second.
Second.
Second by the Council President. This is a motion to introduce Charter Resolution 297 on second reading. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce Charter Resolution Number 297 carries 5-0 in the affirmative. Charter Resolution 297, a charter amendment resolution by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of the Maryland Constitution, Article 11E, the local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland, and the Havre de Grace City Charter, Section 19, to amend City Charter Sections 65, 66, 67, and 68, generally pertaining to public ways, sidewalks, and water and sewers. Council, I have a motion to adopt 297 on second reading.
So moved.
Second?
Motion by the Council President, seconded by Councilmember Shenegis. Questions or comments? Great. Council will do a roll call vote on Charter Resolution 297. Councilmember Shenegis?
Yes.
Councilmember Boker?
Yes.
Council President?
Yes.
Councilmember Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer?
Yes.
By roll call vote of 5-0 in the affirmative, City Charter Resolution Number 297 concerning amending charter sections pertaining to public ways, sidewalks, and water sewer is adopted and approved by council 5-0 in the affirmative. Item C, calendar resolution concerning designating the Havre de Grace Colored School Museum and Cultural Center as a Havre de Grace historic landmark. Councilmember Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to introduce the calendar resolution designating the Havre de Grace Colored School Museum and Cultural Center as a Havre de Grace historic landmark.
Thank you very much. Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Jones. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Council President. This is a motion to introduce a resolution. A motion to introduce a resolution. Questions or comments on the resolution? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against say nay. Motion to introduce the resolution carries 5-0 in the affirmative. Council, this is a resolution by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, pursuant to local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland and Sections 33 and 34 of the City Charter to designate the Havre de Grace Colored School Museum and Cultural Center as a Havre de Grace historic landmark. This is going to be known as Resolution 2023-16. Resolution 2023-16. And council, do I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2023-16?
Second.
Good.
Motion by Councilmember Jones, seconded by Councilmember Shenegis. Questions or comments on the resolution? Okay, roll call vote. Roll call vote on not charter resolution, sorry. Roll call vote on calendar resolution 2023-16. Councilmember Boyer?
Yes.
Councilmember Shenegis?
Yes.
Councilmember Boger? Yes. Council President Ringsager?
Yes.
Councilmember Jones?
Yes.
By a roll call vote of 5-0 in the affirmative, calendar resolution concerning designating the Havre de Grace Color School Museum and Cultural Center as a Havre de Grace historic landmark is approved and adopted by this council. Thank you, council members. We're going to go to item 13, ordinances, also known as laws. Item A, ordinance 1122 on second reading. Councilmember Jones.
Concerning amendment section 97, historic preservation pertaining to historic designation and other amendments.
Thank you very much. Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Jones. I have a second.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Boker. This is a motion to introduce ordinance number 1122 on second reading. Motion to introduce. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce ordinance 1122 on second reading carries 5-0 in the affirmative. This is an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland, and Sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter to amend City Code Section 97, Historic Preservation. Council, to have a motion to adopt ordinance 1122 on second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by the Council President, seconded by Councilmember Jones. Questions or comments? Okay, roll call vote on 1122. Council President Ringsager.
Yes.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shenegis.
Yes.
Councilmember Boger. By roll call vote of 5-0 in the affirmative, ordinance 1122 concerning amended Section 97, historic preservation pertaining to historic designation and other amendments. This ordinance is adopted on second reading. 5-0 in the affirmative. Okay, that's it, right? Okay, that takes us to item 14, old business. This evening, we have no old business. Item 15, new business, and we have a special event, Veterans Day Parade. Mr. Gamatoria.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. We have one single special event application tonight, and this is for the Veterans Day Parade, sponsored by the Joseph L. Davis Post 47. The on-site contact person will be Councilmember Robertson. The event will be on Veterans Day. It's a parade. The setup will be at 10 o'clock on the 11th. The parade will begin at 11 a.m., will end around noon and break down thereafter. The parade itself will go from Washington Street, from Congress down to the American Legion. This year, the setup's a little bit different due to this being, there's some conflict down at St. John Street. So the staging this year will be on Congress Avenue between Union and Washington, so that we'll have those blocks closed down for traffic during the setup time. We expect more than 300 people. The parade route is attached with the map at the, next to the last page of your packet, and the costing sheet is the last page. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gamatori. Council to have a motion to approve Veterans Day Parade for November 11, 2023.
Second?
A motion by Councilmember Boker, seconded by Councilmember Senegas. Questions or comments? Councilmember Boker.
So Senate this year is on Congress between Union and South and Washington?
Washington, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And that, and the great news is that it falls on Saturday, so.
Correct. And the conflict was with the farmer's market down at the
Right.
other end.
Absolutely,
Yes, sir.
yeah, so just to be clear for the citizens at home watching, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Veterans Day Parade. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against say nay. It's approved by council, 5-0 in the affirmative. Thank you. Item 16, reports from the directors. We'll start off with the Director of Administration, Mr. Gamatori. Good evening, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I'll also be reporting for Ms. Johnson, who was ill this evening, and she had a couple items, and I'll bring those up after mine. So just quickly for council, I had asked Mr. Whitty to present this evening on this on the intersection update for a variety of reasons. One is, to the mayor's point, there's been a lot of discussion to that intersection, which really began in 2006, 7, and 8 with BREC coming in. And there was a number of high-profile improvements to Councilmember Boyer's point that took place from the Aberdeen town limits over to Perryville. So the scope of view was pretty broad at that time. BRAC has come and gone. They sort of stuck with some of those improvements, and we have had questions for a period of time on the tolling, and that was really what this meeting was about. That occurred was, this was the first time a toll facility supervisor or somebody of higher level participated in the meeting. We've never had that before. So we were hopeful that we would get some additional information. Obviously, we did not. Councilmember Boyer asked, well, then we should just file, can we just file for a PIA? We could. What we wanted to do, what I felt like the best thing was for council to kind of get a flavor of what has happened up to this point and how we want to move forward. I think there's a degree of improvement that needs to be done, but also to get a better understanding of that traffic study. The most important part about the traffic study that was done that they don't wish to share or haven't shared yet is the methodology in which it was done. We didn't need a trip counter using the traditional tire inflatable those pneumatic devices. We wanted actual, and this is what Mr. Moderano asked for back in 2014, 2015, after the mayor came on board. We sent a letter asking for that study with license plate readers, because we wanted to see who was getting off on 155, get that tag read, and then see where that tag landed. Did it land back on 95 with another license plate reader on the 222 exit? So the detail in which Mr. Moderano put together the request would really have given us the full story of, is traffic truly jumping, which we believe they are, jumping tolls to get on the Hayden Bridge. Mr. Woody mentioned that that theory's been solidified when they did the upgrades to the Hayden Bridge, when you actually have to make the traffic movement to stay on on Route 40 rather than the traffic movement to make your way back to I-95. So we feel confident about that. Where it will go, I'm not sure, but we'll send we'll prepare a letter to be signed by the mayor and endorsed by the council, and I think a resolution would be very helpful with that. to move forward. So not to belabor, that's why Mr. Woody,
The letter to who?
to state highways, yeah. And that letter will request, and in the resolution, the tolling, the methodology for the traffic study that was done. So I just wanted to kind of make that clear to council. In addition to, with my comments, I just want to give a huge congratulations to the events group with the city. They had a very busy couple weeks. That wound up, closed up yesterday with Oktoberfest, but we have Sweeney Todd that's occurring, and which has got great reviews. An actual person from, I think out of New York, came in and was doing a review of the play. Evil Dead's coming this weekend, this Friday, and it's I wasn't planning on going until I went over and visited the set today, and I'm going. So I think that's going to be very unique, and it's something that's really, the lead's been taken by our own, one of our own employees, Bob. So we're happy with that. And then we have, they finished up the Vampire Circus, which was very unique. I know the mayor was there for that. So I just commend the events group with kind of blazing the trail on a lot of new activities and new events, and at the same time being successful with the the cover bands and that sort of thing. So hats off to them. Sort of a little plug for them as well. We have the Oyster Feast coming up in November. Of course, the farmers market every week. And although this isn't a city event specifically out of our group, we want to invite everybody on behalf of Allen Fair and the folks down at Harmerstown for the opening of Grawl Alley, which will be this Friday and Saturday. Mr. Fair has put a tremendous amount of his own resources in this vision, and it's really something I think that is going to be a huge attraction to the city in the grand scheme of the arts. With the arts, I have a weekly or bi-monthly meeting with the Arts Collective, and I just want to comment on two things. They just completed the Arts Across Hartford in 2023, which turned out to be a very big success, and the opening of their fourth exhibit down at the Gallery 220, Art and Drag, was one of the biggest attended shows that they've had so far down there, and one of the highest levels of art sales that they've experienced so far. So hats off to them. Katie also had asked me to remind everybody that's watching the meeting that the Arts Commission is having a volunteer fair scheduled this Wednesday at 6 p.m. down at the Vandiver, and it's free to the public. And they are just using this opportunity to do public outreach to see what folks would be interested in volunteering for some of the arts and entertainment activities that they put on, both at our Star Center, the Opera House, the State Theater, and down at 220. So it's a good partnership we have with them. So anyone interested, this Wednesday, 6 p.m. at the Vandiver. And then lastly, Mayor and Council, a few points from Ms. Johnson. The application for the Holly Jolly Parade on December 1st is available on the Explore Havre de Grace, so anyone that wants to participate in that. The Tourism Advisory Board will be meeting October 18th at 10 a.m., EDAB same day at 4 p.m. And the procurement deadline for the trail, the Swan Harbor Trail Footbridge, is the 17th, so that's coming up. And then they'll be submitting proposed vendor selections to EDA for approval. So we got the electric trolleys here, and we're moving forward with the footbridge, so to take advantage of that EDA grant. So that's all from the Department of Administration and Economic Development, Mayor.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mr. Gamatori. Appreciate all the updates and all the good news. We're going to go with, good evening, Mr. Tim Boissier, the Director of Planning. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. Just want to thank everyone for passing the ordinance tonight with the revisions to the historic preservation law, and also the introduction of the resolution for the landmark of the Havre de Grace Colored School Museum. Those things are really important, I mentioned before, to help us get towards the CLG status, which is Certified Local Government with Maryland Historical Trust, and provide us funds to help with preservation in the city. What's great about this is that the changes were actually a relaxation and a removement of government, which doesn't always happen. Usually we're adding more laws. This law was actually making things easier for historic landmarks to come in voluntarily and be part of a preservation program, and allowing us to work with the state. So thank everybody for that. Diane Clare was really important in getting that going, along with Tammy Brinkman and Jean, and we worked closely with Jacob Benson at the county. This is a whole new process, so although we did remove some layers under our law, this still requires forms and a process and all those things that come along with it, and they worked hard to make that happen. So I thank all of you for pushing that forward. I had a meeting today in Bel Air. We are working on our Safe Streets for All grant. We have 2 firms that we're choosing from. Again, this is for the creation of an action plan. We're going to look at 6 to 9 problem areas or intersections in town, and create an action plan which will go towards seeking implementation money from the federal government. This was the first set of awards for action plans. So us, Bel Air and Aberdeen, were the first recipients under this new federal project. So we're moving forward with it. The intersection that Mr. Whitty discussed today is on there. I'll work with the consultants to make sure that we're not recreating the wheel on that one, and that we're all on the same page on what needs to be studied, and hopefully have some money from implementation grants going forward to do any studies we need to look at those tolls. Tomorrow we have a kickoff for our 2 bikeways grants. That's an internal kickoff. From there, I'll be adjusting our timeline as necessary, and start spending those funds to get some bikeways in town. So really looking forward to that project. Lots of transportation stuff going on, so that's nice. One last thing. As all of you know, we're part of a flood management program. Basically, we're part of something called a community rating system, where we seek points under our flood management program. The more points we have, the lower insurance it is for the residents of that need flood insurance in Havre de Grace. So we have an annual update that I need to read in to the I need to read into the record. I'll be quick. So the county has a hazard mitigation plan, and under that plan, there's a mitigation goals and action plan section. They've carved out an area where we could put in 4 goals of our own that's required for our floodplain management program. And I will do my best Micro Machines impression. So goal 1, reduce flood losses. The city's floodplain ordinance and FEMA mapping were updated and effective on April 19, 2016. The revised ordinance is based on the state model and incorporated a 2-foot freeboard requirement. The Havre de Grace Comprehensive Plan adopted a water resource element by resolution number 2010-17 in December 2010. The Department of Planning is currently updating all chapters of our comprehensive plan and is scheduled to be completed by 2024. Important weather-related updates and announcements are posted on the city website, Facebook, Twitter, as well as during city council meetings. Emergency broadcasts are also sent out to residents by phone and email. Engineering plans have been obtained for Phase 1 of Lily Run for a 2,500-foot wetland enhancement and step pool design, and establishing a marshy area as a no-mow buffer. This will be in the area of Juniata Street, Revolution Street, and Wilson Street, where flooding is common during heavy rains. No work has begun on this project yet. Grant funding will be sought, and we hope to share the project with Harford County. Other stormwater-related projects that were completed include a pond retrofit and partial stream restoration of Lily Run at the city-owned stormwater pond at the Bradford Green Development area, a retrofit to the Concord Point Pond with the addition of 2 landscape infiltration areas, the storm pipe near the Maritime Museum, which was daylighted with step pools, a rain garden and near the Decoy Museum with a dry stream channel meandering into a cove. Shoreline slopes were lessened, invasive plants removed, and native plantings installed. The city regularly monitors these areas for continuing functionality and plant health. Goal 2, protect infrastructure, water, and wastewater systems. The city's installed new cameras for the SCADA system at City Hall, Police Department water treatment plant, and the water towers above town. The wastewater treatment plant and DPW shop also had new cameras installed. The city's water treatment plant recently completed upgrades to the pre-treatment tanks, piping, filtering, and a new control room. Water conservation efforts include monitoring quarterly water consumption and alerting customers on usually high consumption. Goal 3, educate and inform the public about all hazards. Havre de Grace participates in a community rating system and is currently at a Class 7. We continually strive to improve our score through mitigation assistance, public outreach, and exploring options for reducing flood risk. Multiple FEMA booklets and brochures are available in City Hall lobby and at the local library, and there's a webpage on the city website dedicated to floodplain management. The webpage includes links to various FEMA publications, useful sites, and a link to the official hurricane guide for Harford County Surviving the Storm. The city also publishes a Citizen Connection newsletter and a Welcome Home booklet update as needed. Contents include general information on city services, schools, parks, contact information, permits, storm preparation, how to check for water leaks, and how to prevent sewer backups. These publications are available at City Hall, various locations around town, and mailed to new residents. Goal 4, protect infrastructure. The City Hall building is equipped with multiple cameras inside the main lobby, council chambers, around the perimeter of the building. Panic buttons have been installed in multiple locations and are functioning properly. As mentioned under Goal 2, cameras have also been installed at other critical infrastructure sites. In summary, the City of Havre de Grace has been very proactive in enhancing city properties and facilities, upgrading infrastructure, and working to reduce stormwater flooding. Financial limitations guide us in a conservative manner. Administration applies for applicable grants as they become available. As with other historic communities around the state, aging water and sewer lines are in need of replacement, are priorities that sometimes delay progress of other projects. We are always striving to make Havre de Grace a better place in which to live, work, and enjoy an excellent quality of life. Thank you for indulging me on that, and I'll take any questions.
Thank you very much, Tim. We understand. Any questions? Any questions for Tim?
What was that first part again?
What was that middle part?
From memory.
No, just one over here. So you had mentioned the Citizens Connection, is one of those coming out sometime this year? Is that what I heard, or I heard Citizen Connection in there?
Citizen Connection.
Yeah. And
In this last in the community rating system thing that I just read,
right.
I don't see anything about Citizen Connection in here. I'm familiar with Citizen Connection, but I wasn't aware that that was something the city was seeking out.
Maybe I misheard it.
The city publishes a Citizen Connection newsletter and a Welcome Home booklet and update them as needed. So it sounds like that we have a newsletter available.
On an as-needed basis?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Tim, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Doherty, Director of Finance. How goes it?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council, citizens. I don't know about Tim, but I could use a quick breath. Well done, sir. First, I'd like to thank Abdul for covering for me at the last meeting. He did a yeoman's job from what I watched, and I thank you all for being gentle with him. Now for the current conditions, financial conditions. The general fund. Since Abdul's report, we have collected a little over $285,000 in revenues for last year. Believe it or not, there were still tax dollars coming in for last fiscal year. And we also had billed and collected almost $640,000 in revenue for this year. Offsetting that, we have spent just under $925,000, so the fund sits at just under $10.1 million and has declined a whopping $700 since the last report. The water and sewer fund, we did also collect a little bit of revenue, just under $60,000 for the water and sewer fund for last year. We billed and almost $2.6 million in revenues since Abdul's report to bring it up to over 4.8 for the year. Since the last report, we spent a little over $1 million, bringing total expenditures up to $2.7 million, and the fund is ending the period with $3.34 million, and it's up $1.57 million from the report from Abdul from last period. So a nice healthy growth since our last report. The Marina Fund had revenues of a little over $55,000. and we spent almost 43,000. So the fund has grown by 12,000 and now sits at just under $535,000 year-to-date. And that's been the progress of the three major funds since our last meeting. I will take any questions.
Thank you very much, George. Any questions for Mr. Doherty? Okay, you're off the hook. Good job. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thanks for the update, George.
If Tim would have wrote it, it would have been 1 second long.
Hey, good evening, Mr. Melizer. How are things going in DPW?
Trending upwards, Mayor. Thank you. Appreciate it. Good evening, Mayor, Council President, council members, citizens. On the topic of paving, Mayor, at your direction, this year to date, we have paved over 8,225 linear feet of paving. That's equal to about the entire length, we were talking about tolls earlier, entire length of the Hayden Bridge. If you started in Havre de Grace and went over to Perryville, or equal to about 1.5 miles. So we are looking forward to receiving bids and finishing up another mile, another half mile of paving before the asphalt plants shut down this winter. So I think that's a good accomplishment. Quick note on operations. We did receive 2 new trolleys, ADA compliant trolleys. They're about 80% road ready, Mayor. Our mechanics are doing everything in their power to get them on the pavement, hitting the roads. We don't anticipate them being ready until spring, unfortunately. In terms of grants, last week we got some really good news. The city was awarded $2.5 million with an M dollar grant from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation. That's the continuation of the Living Shoreline project north towards McElhaney Park, the MTBR property. So credit to Tim Whitty, Stephanie Noy for their hard work and persistence. And if Stephanie Noy's watching at home on YouTube, great job for all your hard work. Finally, we did meet last week about the Lily One Run project with residents. We presented the 60% drawings last week, got some really good citizen feedback that we're actively applying. So the next step, we have a tentative plan to meet with residents in mid-November, and we're going to make sure that we have their input and citizen consensus before we move forward. That's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Jay. Any questions for our Director of DPW? Well done, sir. We appreciate the update. Oh, we have one?
Quick question. So the residents for Lily Run, where
Yes, ma'am.
specific, were they all of the residents along Lily Run, or where specifically?
So we sent out flyers mainly to those impacted, I think behind the high school. Go ahead.
It's the project area in which this improvement's going to happen and behind that. So it would be from where the old Vision Associates used to be back toward the project.
On Revolution.
On Revolution.
Yep.
Okay,
That area.
thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chief Walter.
Evening, Mayor, Council. I just want to remind everybody that October the 28th between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Is our annual Drug Take Back Day. We have one in every spring and every fall. So again, it is on Saturday, October the 28th from 10 to 2. Again, this is your great opportunity to just bag up any unused medications that you might have or anything that's expired. The only thing we ask, though, that you do not include any kind of needles or any kind of sticks. When I say sticks, I mean like things for like diabetic applications. Yes, that's it exactly. Because we don't want any of our officers also stuck by those. So all you have to do is literally drive into our parking lot, and we have people out there, and we'll just we'll bag it right for you, and we'll dispose of it properly. The other thing I want to remind everybody, we've got Halloween coming up. It's coming up quickly. It seems like this fall is going by extremely fast. But with Halloween is also that time where most kids like to go trick-or-treating. Most kids being just about any age, it seems like. So just a few things to remind you to make sure that your children go trick-or-treating and that they're safe. First thing you want to do is check their costumes, make sure that they have 3 very important things if they have some type of mask that they're wearing. The first thing is that they can breathe. The second thing is that they can see, and the third thing is that they can hear. It's amazing, sometimes a lot of the store-purchased masks don't always allow that, depending on the size of the child. So please pay attention to that. You might want to do the face painting type of thing. If you're going to do that, then make sure that you check to ensure that your child isn't allergic to any kind of makeup that you might put on them. The other thing you want to make sure is that their costumes are reflective. You can get some type of reflective tape, put it, at the bottom of their costumes, the arms, that type of thing. So again, they can be seen by anybody who happens to be driving. And of course, you do also want to make sure that any kind of bags that they're carrying or any kind of buckets or anything like that also are reflective. As far as the route of travel, make sure they are going out first off with an adult, somebody who's going to watch over them. Make sure that if your kids are going out and they don't require adult supervision, that you do have a time that you are expecting for them to return home, and also what their route of travel is going to be, and make sure that that route is gone over with them and that it's a well-lit area. And finally, if you are driving, make sure that you really pay attention to the youngsters, because the kids do get excited and they like to dart out and try to get the best candy at the best locations. Growing up, that was not at my house. My mom always bought the really cheap candy, but just saying, we didn't even eat it. But anyhow, so just make sure that you be very, very careful, even when you're pulling into your own driveway, so that the kids, you don't accidentally hurt a very small child. And finally, last but not least, encourage the kids not to eat the candy until they get home and you've had a chance to inspect it. Just to make sure that, nothing's been broken open or that they're not taking something that they're allergic to. So, Mayor, I think that will be it, and happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween indeed, Chief. Thank you very much. Appreciate the tips. We're going to go to reports from the mayor's office, item 17. A couple things. Trolley report. 4 trolleys ran for 6 days, had over 1,000 riders, total of 692 miles with 0 incidents. And that includes one of the days was rained out, this past Saturday. The Oktoberfest was yesterday. I'll tell you what, we had to, because of the rain on Saturday, we had to exercise our option on a rain date for the Oktoberfest. And whenever you exercise a rain date option, it kind of muffles up not just the participants as far as vendors, but the crowd as well. Yeah, we didn't have all our food vendors or craft vendors, all of them that were there. We lost a few of them because of the rain date. But I'll tell you what, I was there for 4 hours yesterday, and there was a very nice crowd of people at the Oktoberfest. I think that just wanted to get out and see their friends and neighbors and have a drink or two in a nice fall weather and support a good cause. And I think this is the 9th year, but the only 8th time we had it. I don't think we had it during COVID. But anyway, it's like the 8th time we've had Oktoberfest since 2015. So I think our citizens are pretty much, they know what to expect. And it was wonderful. Saw lots of good people. And the Masonic Lodge, Susquehanna Lodge 130, downtown Havre Grace on Washington Street, was in charge of the beer garden. And so the proceeds went to the Masons. And of course, the Masons just turned right around and put that money back into the community. So it was a good event for City Havre Grace. And the Director of Administration, Mr. Gamatori, mentioned earlier our event staff and the things they've been doing lately. And I just want to reiterate also how proud I am of them. Just going back to the Almost Queen concert on September 16th, and they had an AC/DC tribute band last Saturday. They had it was phenomenal. I mean, these aren't the kind of bands you're going to see at like Green Turtle. These are national acts. They travel all around the United States. I'm not busting on Green Turtle. I'm just saying, I like Green Turtle. But anyway, but I'm just saying, these are $10,000, $15,000 plus bands that travel around the country and do major venues. The quality of these bands, if you really are a fan of the music, it was excellent. And then we grabbed a vampire circus, which is basically vampires doing Cirque du Soleil. And they came from California, and our staff reached out to them and snagged them in between 2 cities on a Thursday night. We got a little bit of a discounted price. It was wonderful. It was like watching a Vegas act in your own hometown. And the crowds have been great. We've been averaging 300, 400, 500 people crowd. The Queen concert was almost 800 people. But think about it, the Opera House is 200 seats. And the Opera House sells out sometimes, if it's a big play or something like that. The Opera House will get a good 150 people sometimes. So when you put it in perspective, you know, we're almost doubling the crowds at the Opera House when we do these things at the Star Center. So the marketing is good, the performance quality is good. If you're at home and you're catching this little speech of mine, jump on the Star Center website and check out what's coming up. We got some nice stuff coming up. We got a Fleetwood Mac cover band coming up called Tusk. It'll be their third trip to the city of Havre Grace. They're phenomenal. We have a Trans-Siberian Orchestra esque type production coming called Wizards of Winter in December. We've got all kind of great stuff coming. So jump on the website, see what's coming. And on October 18th, in a couple days from now, the tickets go on sale for the annual Oyster Feast. And that'll be at the Star Center. And as always, $15 of your ticket goes to a participating nonprofit of your choice. Finally, last thing I want to say is a lot of heavy news has happened lately since previous weekend, with the attack on Israel. And, you know, I have a lot of friends that are Jewish. I know a lot of Havre Grace citizens that are Jewish and go to Israel from time to time to visit family or to explore the land and be part of the culture. And, you know, I was just telling my students this past Friday, you know, we were talking about Revolutionary War and stuff like that and Declaration of Independence. And I just tell them, I said, never underestimate the propensity of mankind to be cruel. You know, here we are in 2023, and we have, you know, people like Vladimir Putin that unprovoked, you know, invades a country. We have terrorists that, you know, kill, you know, children in front of their parents and parents in front of their children. I mean, we think as Americans the world is civilized, but it's the same old story for thousands of years. You know, if you allow people to do this, they'll do it. And I think, you know, the interest I have, and I think most Americans have, is we watch this very closely because Israel has been, you know, muzzled for a long time, for decades, because of the powder keg over in the Middle East. But Israel definitely has the right to defend itself. And whatever message, I always say this all the time, whatever message anybody has, whatever grievance the attacker has, once you start killing women and children, your message is lost. You become a terrorist. You know, that's what militaries are for. But anyway, I support and appreciate my country's position to have Israel's back. How long the United States will remain neutral in all this and how long this will just be an Israeli and Hamas issue, God only knows. But, you know, it's not right. It's not right to live in fear. It's not right to have your country attacked. And if anybody did this to the United States of America, you know darn well we would have reprisal and we would defend ourselves. So I hope whatever happens, it happens quick, and I hope it doesn't lead into anything bigger. But anyway, with that said, to my friends who I know personally, who are Jewish, and my friends who I know that go to Israel often, you know, we're thinking about you. With that said, we're going to go to comments from council, and Councilmember Jones.
Great, thank you, Mayor. Just have one quick thing tonight. Just want to remind the citizens at home and all of you that this Saturday is the Harford County Civil Rights Tour. The bus is leaving 9 a.m. sharp from Harford Community College. You can go on Harford Community College's website to find out more information on how to get tickets. And the significance is that we will be visiting several sites in Havre Grace, along with sites in Bel Air and also in Aberdeen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Jones. Good evening, Councilmember Boyer.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council, citizen in the audience, and everybody watching from home. Thank you very much for sticking around for the end for today. Just a couple of things I need to make announcements for, but first I want to just give huge kudos to the people who organized and volunteered for the Pride Festival on the 7th. I'm just in utter awe of the organization and the commitment and the love and family that was exhibited, not only in the setup, but the execution of the event, the takedown of the event. It was just an absolutely wonderful experience, and I want to thank you all very much for allowing me to be included into it. The Green Team has a couple of announcements. We are looking for a couple of tree adopters. We had to make some amendments to a couple of the trees, and we have I think there's 2 trees remaining that need adoption, and they are Asian pears. If anybody knows anything about an Asian pear, I've been trying to study it and figure out what you do. Evidently, they're prolific in the way that they make pears, and you have to be skillful at the pruning of them. So if anybody is interested in that and has any knowledge of Asian pears, the Green Team is looking for tree adopters. And I have the final count from Miss Anise Bloom for the Victory Garden for this year. A total of 2,203 pounds was grown in our little garden, the Victory Garden on, I guess that's Strawberry Lane right there. And by a group of extremely committed volunteers. It's really important, if anybody is very compelled to be a part of the committee for next year, that you stand up now, because Miss Anise Bloom will be stepping away from the project this next year. And she knows, well, there's no way we're ever going to do a one-for-one replacement for Anise. So she's going to break it out into different project areas, and we're looking for people to step forward. And there will be a meeting on the 24th of October from 6:30 to 8:30 at the police department to discuss this. So again, if you have any ability when it comes to gardening or want to develop the ability to garden, they're in desperate need, and it does great things for our community. Again, over 2,200 pounds donated to people who don't have the ability to get regular meals, and to be making sure that they have fresh fruit grown by the people who love them in their community is just amazing. Which brings me to another thing. So the Thanksgiving Committee has been actively meeting. It's the Havre Grace Community Projects Thanksgiving Dinner, and we have a flyer that is put out on social media if you're interested in either signing up to receive a meal or to volunteer. We're looking for both. So if you're interested in dining, sign up. We're going to be doing in-person dining this year, but we will be delivering as we always have, and we need volunteers for both. So we're making it a little bit more sophisticated this year with an online volunteer signing up process, as well as the dine-in and carry-out. And there are still sponsorship opportunities available. If you are collecting your WISE points and you have way too many WISE points and you want to donate your turkey, please let Fred Wills know, and he'll make an arrangement to come pick up your frozen turkey for the donation of we need about 150 total turkeys to do our Thanksgiving meal. And then finally, tomorrow evening, the 17th of October at 6:30, the Public Safety Committee will have a public input session here in City Council chambers at 6:30. The purpose is to receive input from the community in regards to the traffic around Grace Manor. I want to emphasize that this is civility will be the name of the day. And we want to hear everyone's input. We just don't want to hear it in the form of yelling. So everyone will have an opportunity to speak, and the goal is to come up with the requirements, whatever the root cause of the problem, and to identify solutions that we can take to help resolve the problem for our community members who live on Grace Manor Drive, to make it a little bit easier for them. And that is about it. So I encourage everyone to come if you have a point of view that you would like to express. Please come tomorrow at 6:30 here at City Council chambers. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Boyer. Good evening, Councilmember Shenanigans.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Administration, citizens in the audience and at home. I just want to say that this last week was a joyous occasion to be able to interact with the elementary students at Havre Grace Elementary and the community. Seeing those little kids in their costumes, eager, even though it's so early, they were ready. And it was very interesting and fun, and it was nice to see the teachers and just people in the community just come out and decorate their cars and have a good time. If you missed it, there are 2 other trunk or treat opportunities in our community. One is going to be at the Ambulance Corps on October 28th from 1 to 4 p.m. Up on the 55. And there will be free hot dogs and cold cider, as well as lovely decorated trunks for you to play tricks on and to receive treats. And that evening, there's also at the Havre Grace Housing Authority on 101 Stansbury Court at 5 p.m., another trunk or treat opportunity. So kids, I know there's a lot going on. We also have our city parade, which is October 30th. I believe it's at 5 p.m., 5 to 8:30 down at John Washington Street at the end. So be ready, everyone, and keep those costumes in good shape. I just want to say I look forward to seeing everyone this Friday at the Harmerstown ribbon cutting. It's awesome to see this, the talent and the teamwork and the plans come to fruition to make this center, this art center, available to the community. There will be unveiling of wonderful statues, and the event will continue into the next day. The streets will be closed for an event from 1 to 7 p.m. for you to also come down and explore the garden and see all the sculptures as well as the murals. So I look forward to seeing everyone, and I wish you all a wonderful week ahead. And that will be all. Back to you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Shenanigans. And good evening, Councilmember Boker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, first of all, I appreciate the reports, the director reports. Thank you very much. And the director of administration is reporting on the Veterans Day Parade. With that being said, I think there's 2 more parades coming up, right? One of them is the Halloween parade on the 30th, if I'm not mistaken, right? And I think it starts at 5 o'clock downtown. I'm not really sure. On the 30th, and then I think the homecoming parade is scheduled for the 27th. Is it the 27th? Yeah. So if you're in the parades, there you go. There's like 3 of them for you already. Yeah, quite a bit. On to other news. So yeah, we got rained out on Saturday for the Oktoberfest. However, the American Legion still pursued and had their Oktoberfest at the American Legion. So that was a great precursor for the Sunday, right? So we was able to get out there and have a great time. Again, hats off to the ones who set that up. I know what it's like to sit there and volunteer all day. Been there, done that, and it's something. If you dedicate your whole weekend to do that, I mean, my hat's off to you. I salute you. And then, of course, as Councilmember Boyd had mentioned, tomorrow is the public meeting. Thanks for putting that out. I'll be sure to hear what the citizens have to say in regard to Grace Manor. Just one more thing too. If you're into the polar plunge, the police plunge is having one, and this is in February. So I know I'm kind of putting this out there a little bit, right? But you need to get geared up. If you're going to jump in some ice cold water and do it for the Special Olympics, you got to get ready right now. And I'm going to do it, right? I am. Are you going to be there, Chief?
You know it. I have not missed one.
So no pressure, right? So if you want more information, just reach out to me. I'm always beating the street. You guys see me out there. Everybody, you see me out there on looking at the trees on Ontario. You see me out there on Warren Street behind Marie's Pizza, seeing what's going on out there. And I know that I'm out there too much because I always see EJ out there running around doing stuff and DPW out there hard at work. So it's a small town, so you can't go anywhere without bumping into somebody, right? So beyond that, Mr. Mayor, that's and of course every night that I'm up here on the dais, I always thank the police department, our first responders, our EMS, and our host company for keeping us safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Boger. And that takes us to the Council President.
Mr. Mayor, Council, one person in the audience, everybody at home. I am very surprised that I get to be the person to say this because I would like to congratulate our own Councilwoman Vicki Jones on being recently named as one of 25 women to watch in, what is it, Advocacy, Business, and Health? Is that correct? By the Baltimore Sun, so. Outstanding. I can't believe nobody said that. I get to be the person to say that. I love it. Because if I'd won it, I would have told everybody. I mean, she went first, so I'm just saying. Yeah, right? I'm one of the 25 women to watch. Wow. But no, congratulations. That's quite an honor, and I know you've put in the time and the effort for that, and it's well-deserved. It truly is. And you're a joy to work with. Mentioned the trunk or treat. That was fun. I loved the costumes. There was one kid in a hot dog costume. Was one of my favorites. It was really cool, and not just because I like hot dogs, but it was just so cool seeing the diversity of costumes and like some kids with homemade stuff. And we had to see a dozen police officers, which was great. And we gave each of them applications. So, so speaking of the police officers, I really want to thank Dan Petz and Brian Daniels because last week they took their time to meet with a couple of my scouts. So there's a requirement for the second class where they have to attend a community drug and alcohol seminar or talk or some sort. And most of the kids in the troop attend public school, so they get it through their own, through their health class and stuff like that. Well, we have one kid who's homeschooled, and another one goes to home. And so we took both of them, and I even drug my own son along, and they took their time and gave a great talk, and gave us a tour of the police department. Got to hold and pet Luna, little bulldog over there, and we locked the kids in the cell, and came back about a half hour later. No, we let them right out. But it was really, really cool, and they loved it, and I think they actually did get applications. So we're recruiting for them too, but that was just so fabulous of them to take their time and do that, and like Johnny said, I really do appreciate our police department, and great guys and girls over there. So so we had the golf tournament for the Masonic Lodge the other day, and we raised a bunch of money to help our scholarship fund to help fund kids in our community for school. Which is a good thing that we did. On Sunday, I want to thank E.J. Meliza for coming out and helping me with an Eagle Scout project for Life Scout Austin Gray to complete this floating vegetation platform at the Lock House. So there was already one there that's pretty well established. We just built one out of white PVC. You'll see it down there. It doesn't look like much now, but the grass is going to grow, and we're going to get a chance to stuff some more stuff in there. And we want to get a lot more coverage of the pond down there because it helps keep it clean and gives habitat for a lot of the animals. So my son is actually looking at doing the same thing for his Eagle project coming up because he just made life. I did get to work the Oktoberfest. It was a good time, a decent turnout. I showed up after the Eagle project, so about 4 o'clock on I was there, but it was a good time, and it seemed to be fairly well attended. I'm glad the rain held off, and it was definitely a good idea to move that to the next day. Just a couple more things. Number one is I want to point out that Coach Jim does hand out full-size candy bars at my house for Halloween. So you guys know, if you know where I live. So Brian Garth, you come up there, and I have full-size candy bars for everybody. So come on up and see me. We're up in the middle of nowhere. Nobody comes back there, so I've got to entice trick-or-treaters. So I do want to note, on a more serious note, that I do also pray for the people of Israel and condemn the terrorist attacks. But I also want to point out that in the past week, the Customs Border Patrol has reported that they apprehended 50 military-aged Syrian men at our border crossing through Eagle Pass, Texas, as well as the 4th this month, a special interest alien Iranian who's on the terror watch list. So these people are still coming into our country as well, and just, stay frosty. So with that, Mr. Mayor, thank you. Stay strapped, get glad.
Thank you very much, Council President. We go to item number 19, motion to adjourn. Do I have a motion? So moved. Motion by the Council President, seconded by Councilmember Boyer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to adjourn the October 16, 2023 council meeting carries 5-0 in the affirmative. The time is 8:57. Good night, everybody. Happy Halloween. We'll see you in the month of November. Be safe.